gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
On This Week in Indies, as pundits and prognosticators' predictions have finally seen fruition in the slow decline of sales numbers, is it because of the predictable factor of supply issues? Or are there more declines to come? And what can indies do to prevent it or prepare for it? Amazon practices have once again come under scrutiny, and it is indies who have felt the brunt of these decisions. We will be talking about all this and more on this week's Roundtable. Then C.L. Cannon will be along sharing multiple indie books that capture the sense of a multiple POV modern-day science fiction classic. Then we will spend the last 5 minutes with the indie author Madilynn Dale, whose latest book, you could say, is as hot as hell. So sit down, grab your coffee, and let's get to talking about all these issues and more. Here's your host for This Week in Indies, Joe Compton. Hello, everybody. We're back. Our first show of 2022. Yes, it is January 16th, 2022. Welcome to the show. Hope you all had a wonderful New Year. Happy holidays. If you were hanging out with us on New Year's Eve, you know that I had a pretty good New Year, at least New Year's Eve anyway. But that being said, I'm super glad to be back, and we've got a great show ahead for you. I've got the roundtable joining me here in just a second, and then we'll have some discussions, some talks. We got our indie connection. We got 5 minutes with Madilynn Dale, and it's a great show. So let's not dilly-dally any further. Welcome to Go Indie Nows for This Week in Indies with the Round Table, who you can see all here. Everybody's here. Everybody's somewhat excited, I guess.
I'm always
we might have a guest appearance from a young indie author at some point today, but we'll see if he comes in or not. But that being said, or a future indie author, I should mention. And he's what, 3?
Hands behind your head.
Yeah, only 4 at the end of this month.
So do not fret if Harrison jumps in. We're all expecting it, and it should be fun. Regardless, welcome to the show. Let's go around the horn as we normally do and tell everybody a little bit about yourselves if they don't already know. But I'm going to start just the way we're all laid out. So, Madilynn, why don't you kick us off, please?
Hey, guys. I'm Madilynn Dale. I'm the one that has the future indie author that'll probably come in and out on occasion. I write in a mixed genre kind of thing. I have my recent book out, Black Flames, which is a dark, steamy fantasy romance. And you can find it widely, or just go to my website and check it out there. I'm excited to be here today, guys. And this is going to be a good chat.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. All right, Mr. LAHR.
Hello, I'm Ron LAHR. Not quite as excited as Madilynn, but I mean reasonably so. I write fantasy, humor, science fiction, mixes and matches of those things. I'm old. I love gardening. There you go.
Awesome. Can't beat that. All right. Look, we even got him to smile in the first 5 minutes, everybody. So, yay. All right. Josh?
So I don't know if I can match Ron's intro. I'm not going to lie. That one's tough to top. My name's Josh. I'm scared of Harrison. I write stuff. I do a podcast. And hi, everybody. Welcome to Go Indie Now for the first year. I think that's good.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right. And a newcomer to our midst, but somebody we hope will be joining us more often. Hi, Samantha. Tell everybody about yourself.
I'm Samantha Bryant. I write the Menopausal Superhero series, and I also write horror. At this point, half of my catalog is horror and half hero, which half hero, half horror is also a description of my day job as a middle school Spanish teacher.
Nice. Nice. All right. And we have Mr. Adam Johnson with us. Adam, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, sir.
Hello. I'm a fantasy writer as well. I write sci-fi as well. I have a series that's going to be coming out earlier this year. That's all about. It's kind of about superheroes as well, but it's more geared in a science fiction package. It's going to be really fun book. After that, I have a epic fantasy series coming out. And then also I'm doing a podcast with our host, Mr. Joe Compton, the Kingdom of Heavy. And other than that, just trying to enjoy life.
Nice. And, I know Adam, and this is the first time hearing that he has a science fiction book. So thanks for keeping that from me.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a 3-book series. I'll send you the synopsis later. It's fun.
All right. Yeah, you know what I do. I don't know why you haven't sent it to me to read or anything.
It's not out yet.
Well, okay. Well, all right. Well, that's fine. What is out and about right now? I'm going to hit you guys with a little something that I just came across earlier today that you guys weren't aware of, but because we do prepare for this show, believe it or not. But I was looking at the numbers that have been out there, and to nobody's surprise, paperback sales were down in December, and also the first quarter comparison of 2021 to 2022 was down as well, 13%, almost 14%. And that's not a surprise. Everybody predicted this. Everybody was saying supply issues and the like. But there is a subtle concern. Somebody's echoing. I'm trying to figure out who it is. It's Samantha. So well, no, it's not Samantha. Is it me?
It might be me.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, just everybody mute, and then we'll figure it out. Sorry about that. Live, everybody. This is what happens when you go live. Anyway, that being said, when you want to talk, just unmute. It's fine. But supply issues are out there, and there's some people out there who share a little bit of a deeper concern. And I was kind of curious if what everybody's take was on this. If you're just thinking that this is supply issues as well, or I mean, the good bad news is that we're not going to get out as much as we thought we would at the beginning of this quarter, because COVID has reared its ugly head again and kind of tampered a lot of festivals and book conferences and things like that to move either toward the second half of the year or cancel outright or go virtual. So the need for inventory is not as great, but there is a concern that along with COVID fatigue and mass fatigue and all these things that you hear about, there's some book fatigue going on out there. And that is something that was brought up a couple places. And I'm just kind of curious if anybody's feeling that or if anybody's concerned about that. What is everybody's, or if you just look at these numbers and go, whatever. I mean, they're numbers.
I don't know what book fatigue would be. To me, the worse life gets, the more I need books, the more I need to get out there and find something that feels less real. I do have a little bit of book fatigue for certain kinds of books. This is not my moment for reading post-apocalyptic pandemic kinds of stories. No thanks. It's more my moment for reading things that take me somewhere else.
And that's more of what book fatigue, I think, is more defined as, kind of the not so dark, getting away from the darkness and kind of going toward the light kind of idea. But yeah, anyway, sorry. I should have been more clear about that. Apologize.
I do think that it's primarily a supply thing going forward right now, just based on the fact that it's even impacting like Kickstarters I'm aware of. Like, and again, there are other aspects of book sales that are not recorded, including crowdfunding sales. And there's a lot of different stuff like that, and that's still going strongly. Well, it's just there are supply issues across the board. I think that's the biggest factor. Do I think there's fatigue with how things are in the world? That is almost a certainty. I think something's going to give this year. But that all said, I do think that I do just think like it's just numbers in the moment more than anything else. I think sales are going to be steady for people that are putting out stuff. Advertising might have to go up for authors. That might be a thing. But I don't know beyond that it would make a big impact of either way.
I kind of agree with you guys. I do feel like the numbers are kind of just numbers right now, but we all kind of predicted that it would drop at some point. Because ebooks are just easier for people to get quicker. And with the whole supply lagging, mail lagging, everything, there is a crap ton of fatigue, right now in the world in general. But like, as a reader, having to wait longer to get a book you ordered is a little more frustrating. So yeah.
Ron, Adam, you guys want to jump in?
Yeah, I think it's going to be natural to see that a little bit less of the paperback sales, because I mean, right now, like everybody's been saying, the world is kind of in fatigue. The world's went through a lot of shit. You know, people are real tired of a lot of stuff right now. So I mean, you're going to see sales from the names that people know, big names. You're going to see some indie sales as well, but I mean, like you said, there's supply issues going on as well. So there's a lot that's going into everything right now. But I mean, the number one thing that we can do as indies is try to reach our readers and reach our community on a more personal level rather than just sales and, you know, this is my book is out. Because the number one rule in marketing is people buy from people that they know. So if you build a, you know, strong community around your brand, around your platform, then you're going to have lots of readers that know you and trust you and will be willing to vouch for you to other readers as well. So I think the best thing we can do right now to get ahead of all this is just build our communities more.
Ron?
Yeah, I'm not concerned about it for two reasons. One, my fear of inheriting Alzheimer's makes everything else seem not scary at all, just because my mom and my grandma have it. And now I'm in my 50s, so any day I feel like it could happen. And the other is, even if this trend continues and book sales, whether paperback or, you know, physical books or digital books, it doesn't matter in the sense that there's always stuff to write for other media. You know, I just can't be afraid of the form of one diminishing. Doesn't mean you can't participate in entertaining people in another way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Go ahead, Samantha.
I was going to say that the lack of in-person events has been a problem as well. Like, you know, I was doing like 6 or 8 conventions or events a year, and then, you know, it all went away for nearly a year and then came back smaller scale. So that definitely impacts sales, especially for an indie author, because those in-person interactions are a great way to get to an audience. And I know for myself, I'm primarily an e-reader because if I don't stop being a paper reader, I have to buy a bigger house. And so I've struggled throughout the whole pandemic when my teaching job became teaching from home and became so screen based. All of a sudden, having my reading life and my writing life also be screen based was too much screen time. I was just screen burnt. So, you know, I started reading all the paper in the house that I hadn't already read. But yeah, I think there's a screen factor in there as well for a lot of people.
Yeah, nice.
I'm with Samantha on that because I have bought more physical books in the last year than I have in one go in my entire life. And I struggle to read ebooks right now. Like, I just can't do it as quickly. So, yeah.
I won't be sad if you hold up the one you held up before we started. There you go.
There you go. Here's Joe's first book.
Shameless plug.
The paperback version. And I've got like 3 ebooks I'm working through because I never read just one book at once. But like, it's easier
Really?
to read the paperbacks right now than like the ebooks. Oh, and my cat's in the background. I don't know if y'all can see him. Here he goes.
Reading an ebook
Nice.
just feels differently. Like, it just does. It feels like you're reading on a screen, no matter where you're at. Whereas a book feels very tactile and different.
Mhm.
And I think the other thing that's not being talked about is, honestly, there is usually once a day where I'm at, I go out for a walk and I take nothing electronic with me. Nothing. Because I like being unplugged. I'm unplugged in way more than I wanted to be. And some of that's my choice, but some of that's like not. But like, there's just something that feels really nice, but not being plugged into the system, having something that's separate and like unto itself. And I kind of feel like when you read a book, you're not plugged into anything. You can just go into your nice little escape. You're reading an ebook, don't get me wrong, you can still get an enjoyment from it. But again, when you're already on the computer screen a lot, it just adds to what already is there.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes total sense. Anita says she's not feeling it. Her sales have been up. That's awesome. We'd love to hear that. And yay, Joe's book. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, that was me being shameless for a minor second.
It's your show. It's your show, Joe. You can be shameless about your stuff if you want. In fact,
Anyway.
you got one of these episodes. You should just as a gag. You should just have all your guests say, "Listen, can I like plug my book like every like 5 minutes and see if I can get away with it?"
I mean, I can go get the second book. It's over here. It's on my
fine. No,
next
it's
to
fine.
read physical book doc.
No, we got too much to talk about. Too much good stuff to talk about. All right. Anyway, so great. I think we've exhausted that topic. So let's move on. Talk about the thing that we were here to really talk about. And I know a lot of people are interested in the chat to hear us talk about it a little bit. I sent a little bit of a news brief that I get from Ally, and if you don't follow Dan Holloway on Ally, you should. He's really good. And he put out a little blurb about the concern about piracy being the major issue, in which why Amazon has been deleting certain indie author accounts. And then Samantha actually provided us with a really, really well in-depth blog of somebody who went through this process and had this happen to them. And I know a few people who have had this problem, and it's troubling. I made my opinion known on Friday. If you all want to hear it, go watch my show on Friday. So because I want everybody else to talk about this. So whoever wants to jump in, talk a little bit about what their concerns are with the piracy, how what you feel like you're doing to protect yourself and that nature, and just if you want to shit on Amazon, I'm okay with that too. It's up to you. Anybody? Bueller?
Well, yeah, I'll jump in on that.
Go ahead, Adam.
So, like, piracy's been an issue forever, and it's going to be pretty tough to get away from that. They are developing technologies right now. Like Joe and I talked a little bit about NFTs the other day, and NFTs will possibly be a way that they can stop that kind of thing from happening, because it records all the transactions that happen throughout the book, so it can tell whether it's real or not. But other than that, it's really hard for us to protect ourselves from piracy right now. And if somebody has a way, let me know, because that'd be great. But other than that, a lot of things are happening at this moment. And a lot of people think it's, one thing or another. But the truth is, we don't really have any concrete proof of what's happening and why it's happening. Looking into it a little bit, it's It could be because there's a lot of influence out in the industry right now. And I was talking with Mandy about this as well. And, you know, we went over this quite a bit because obviously it's a big thing in the industry at the moment. But it could be that a lot of like the high influencing authors out there who are like consulting people's books and giving them advice and things like that. A lot of them have said to name your characters the same as like other authors. Like, so you name a character named Stephen King in your book to hit those keywords, and then you put Stephen King in your biography or your synopsis, excuse me, and then Amazon sees those things, or you put the names of other books or series, you sneak them in as keywords and then try and build off of that. And then Amazon will see those things and then label it as misinformation because they think that, you know, it's something else other than what it really is. And that could also be a reason why some of these accounts are being pulled and taken off. Aside from that, though, if it actually is the piracy issue, then there's really not a whole lot that we can do about that other than considering going wide. You know, I saw Madilynn said she's taking her series wide, which is a really good idea. KDP has a lot of benefits for a lot of authors, but it's not the only way. You know, and in fact, if you can actually get your marketing down right and release a wide series, you'll actually make quite a bit more money than KDP. So it's all in a matter of your strategy and how you want to use it. But a lot of authors have been really successful in KDP, and I'm not saying that's not a good option or anything, because KDP has been great for a lot of people. But with this kind of thing happening and happening more often and more frequently, it's best not to put I think it's best not to put all your eggs in one basket. So it's a little better to build a wide audience and build your own platform instead of building your business completely on someone else's.
I've seen too with the whole pirating thing. On social media, a lot of authors, including myself, we like to share like little bits, like pictures of our manuscript that we're working on and whatnot. I remember an incident on TikTok a couple months ago where an author, it was a younger, newer author, actually stole the words from another author's manuscript she posted in video on TikTok. And then like chaos happened. But like just as a tip too, like when doing that, maybe block out the words, because that could also be something that's causing more of the piracy stuff. And we need like to do that on social media, share our work. But I don't know, it's almost like another way for people to just like go in and sneakily get it, if that makes sense.
I just, so this is gonna make me sound really old and crotchety and stuff. So back in my day, I remember the old school tape recorders. Joe, you remember those when we used to listen to our songs and we used to record the shit out of them? And right. So here's the thing. I have a very weird idea with piracy. I'm not condoning it, but here's the thing. If I ever get my work pirated, there's just a little part of me that thinks I've made it. Yes, I'm good enough to be stolen. Yes, life goal achieved. That all said, I mean, what is there to say about Amazon? I think as a general rule of thumb, I think everybody knows deep down on the inside, Amazon cares about an author as much as I care about my underwear. Maybe it's slightly less than that. And that's it. They don't care, and they never have and never will. So that they will always do a reactionary policy no matter what. And it will never be in proportion to what they should do, and it will never be to the benefit of the authors there. But Amazon is a beast we all kind of have to deal with. I'm currently on a KDP thing because the genres I write in fit KDP as a general good model. That doesn't mean, though, that deep down on the inside, I'm not aware that one day I might get a contact from Amazon and go, Emma, and say, well, your book has been suspended because someone stole your work. I'll be like, this looks stolen. And I'm like, really? Someone tried to steal my stuff? And I'd be like, part of me would be like, cool. Another part would be like, well, I guess I'm going wide because screw this. But I mean, This might sound like I'm lackadaisical, but it's the nature of the beast. It sounds really cynical, and I'm not trying to downplay anybody that's had their work taken away, because that does suck balls. But I think at this point, if anybody here were to really ask themselves, are you surprised Amazon would do this? If you are going to say yes, my question to you is why? They do this like legitimately all the time. This is not like, again, it's like waking up and say water is wet, the sky is blue, and Amazon will do what Amazon does, which no one will understand, because they have drugs that they don't want to share. So that's kind of how I look at
It's
it.
a little
And maybe
poem. Water's
what?
wet, the sky is blue. Amazon is here to screw you.
Amazon, yeah, that'll work too. Like, but again, you're going to bed with for lack of a better term, a monster. You know how it eats. You know how it shits. It's and no matter whether you go wide or whether you're with them, you're dealing with them, and you just basically you look at them and say to yourself, it would be nice if somebody that actually worked in an office gave a shit, but no one does. So
yeah, the thing that's always driven me crazy about Amazon is just the lack of transparency, the lack of clear process, because bad things happen, misunderstandings happen, and if you try to use a lot of the customer service kind of ways in, you get caught in these endless loops where you just get sent back to the beginning again, and you have to give the same information 8 times. And depending on what the problem is, there may not be any recourse at all. Like some time back, I was banned from reviewing books on Amazon. I wasn't given a reason. The best I can figure is that I reviewed somebody who I also am connected with on social media. Yeah, that's my best guess, but they didn't tell me why. And every message I sent to try to find out why just went out into the void. No responses, no recourse, nothing I can do about it. And it's that way with some of the big media companies. I've had similar problems with Facebook, and it's rough because they do have great distribution, and it's a good opportunity for distribution and visibility, which can be hard to get as an unknown indie author. But it's also you have to work with shady characters, and normally I try to avoid that.
I'm gonna ditto exactly what she just said, because I was totally gonna hit on that. Because I had the same thing happen to me. I can't do Amazon reviews because of who knows what. I did try to contact them, and I gave up, because after so many circles round and round and round, it was like, I don't know why you guys are doing this, and then it's just, you can't even trying to find a phone number to contact somebody is almost impossible as well. So.
Well,
I'm guessing that you guys can do Goodreads reviews, which is the stupidest thing in the history of mankind, because Amazon owns Goodreads. So what the hell?
Well, Goodreads will let me review my own books.
Yeah,
True.
So they have no rules.
And I've even seen a tip to go and review your own book on there, so it gets you more viewings and
I have done so. I say in it this is my book. I don't pretend that it's not my book, but I have reviewed my own book just because I was curious what would happen.
Yeah.
Warning: this is my book. I did this on a dare. I'm biased.
This is the greatest thing you'll ever read.
Well, I'm
funny, but I've seen that. I've seen an author actually review their pen name and give it a glowing review, and the story was just enchanting. It was captivating, and but it was her who did it, and I was like,
so,
wow.
So and she would be great in marketing, and you would think, because if you can embellish to that degree there, holy crap, you can put a sales pitch on. Come buy my book, it's amazing. I mean, their book. Buy their book.
Yeah, that one over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ron, you wanted to jump in here?
I don't want anybody to steal my work, I'm against thievery in general, even though a bunch of my books are about it, and a bunch of my characters are thieves. I'm against stealing. I want to go on the record there. But I'm also not mad at Amazon or Facebook, which I've had similar trouble with these guys, because I get it. They're trying to automate everything. And I mean, it is inherent to automation that you build some simple rules and you put it out there, and of course there's unintended consequences. And I expect they will eventually get it right. I mean, I don't think Amazon is out to get the authors. I think they don't care so much, but they want to do good business. They want everybody to succeed. They don't want to take your books off and not make money off them as a goal. They just want they're trying to make sure the rules are adhered to, and it will take some time to develop that automatically. So anyway, Amazon, I love you. The rest of these guys may hate you. I'm a huge fan.
I just, the only thing I'm just gonna say to
You
Ron,
corporate shill.
I'm a whore.
listen. I can respect Ron being a whore. All I'm just gonna say, right? I can respect that. I can from one whore to another. I can admire that completely. But the thing is, right? The only thing I'm gonna say is I always look, when I look into like the really big businesses, the big, like, the way I look at them, I kind of look at them like, of all things, McDonald's, because from a business standpoint, that's the dream. You have a recognizable brand name thing that everybody goes to. But we've all seen the YouTube videos of McDonald's food. It's always the same, no matter how many years go by. And that should terrify us a little bit more than it does. But nonetheless, that is the model these companies are trying to move towards, and all the good and the bad that comes with it.
So Anita says you can go review on BookBub. They don't care.
They don't. They're awesome. I'm enjoying BookBub right now.
Go ahead, Adam.
Sorry, I want to touch on that a little bit, because I mean, like, sure. I think Josh is right that, you know, businesses want that perennial, constant success that McDonald's has experienced and cultivated, but at the same time, they don't really just stay the same. It's more about adaptability. Like, they have their core products that do always stay the same. You know, you're going to get your fries, you're going to get your double cheeseburger, you're going to get your Big Mac and your quarter pounder. Those things are pretty much always going to be there. Chicken nuggets, always going to be there, you know, because those are their constant sales, their constant, you know, everybody goes and gets those, and they're immediately recognizable and familiar. So they're going to hold on to those things. But if the sales for the Big Mac just dropped off tomorrow and they, you know, made $20 a month on it from then on, they would eventually get rid of the Big Mac, and the Big Mac would more so become nostalgia and like stuff they would put on shirts and merchandise and stuff like that, but they actually wouldn't serve them in the restaurant. So it's more about adaptability, being able to adapt to the trends in the market that's going on right now, but they use their focal points, like their Big Mac, their shake, you know, things that everybody knows, for their marketing and to bring people in because everybody knows that. And authors are exactly the same way. If you're looking at your writing in the form of a business, it's you have to be adaptable. If you're not adaptable in the author world, you know, things like Amazon shutting down your account, or I've seen a lot of authors get their Facebook ad privileges taken away where they can't run ads or anything like that. A lot of times that would cripple an author's business because that's a large portion of their income. But if you're always looking to the future and looking to kind of safeguard yourselves against those things, then you become a little more adaptable. You're seeing the trends that are going on in the market. And that's why I said earlier that going wide is probably one of your best ideas, going wide and building your own platform. in the way that Madilynn has her website there, Ron has his website there, and Madilynn said you can buy her books on her platform, which is terrific. You know, if you're building your own platform up and using these other platforms like Facebook and Amazon to reach your readers, find your market, build your communities, and then draw them all towards your platform, then you're winning.
I got a good example of what Ron's talking about uh, with the Mexican pizza and Taco Bell, right? People didn't know it was gone until it was gone, and then when it got gone, everybody got upset about it, and they petitioned Taco Bell. Now Taco Bell's bringing it back on a limited time basis to capture that marketplace. But sometimes you just don't know when. You know, I don't want to go down a deep rabbit hole about fast food, but you know, you just don't know how good it is until it's not there anymore, right? So, and I think. The one thing I will say about Amazon, I'm going to jump in here because I did mention this on Friday, but the one thing that I think is always frustrated me about Amazon is that they're not addressing the real issue, which is the piracy issue. They just gloss that over. You know, they just go, well, we have safeguards in place and all this and all that. Well, obviously you don't, because it's happening to everybody. It's not just happening to indies. It's happening to Macmillan. It's happening to HarperCollins. It's happening all over the place. And when those guys throw a fit about it, they adjust and, you know, make it happen. But indies just don't have that pull. And that's just the way the world works. And that's corporations for you and everything like that. But they don't address the core issue, which is, hey, maybe you should look at your software a little bit and figure out there might be a safeguard you could put in place that would prevent this from happening. You guys are $1 billion company with a lot of security, a lot of different things. You could essentially set the marketplace and set the trend for this to happen. But why? It doesn't matter, because it's pennies on the dollar to them after all it's said and done. And until it affects their bottom line, it doesn't matter. And it's never going to affect their bottom line because they're so big. And so it's really tough to get that kind of idea behind it. But that's really what would solve this entire problem. It would. I mean, if they put a security in place that would then either alert them that this is a piracy issue and it's not the author's fault or this or that, you know, whatever, however they would go about it. You know, there's smart people out there in the world than me that would figure that out. But I think that would be a really, really good natured idea behind that. You have our back, you know, which they don't. But you know.
I agree with Joe. Amazon is great.
So Joe, can I offer a rebuttal that you might not have considered? It's going to depress you just slightly, because I have worked for a multi-billion-dollar company. I worked for them in their warehouse. I had this so about a week into working in this place, I was able, because again, we've at this point I've been around the work environment. I'd worked in different like warehouses before. I've seen some things, and I recognized some of the issues that were always in this place. And I had this really wonderful thought, and then this really occurred to me and made me both happy and sad at the same time. And this was this. I could see the problems going on with the company. Then I had this epiphany. The company can see the problems going on with the company. So then the question becomes, why don't they do something about it? Partially, there is a certain degree of what Joe said, it's pennies to the dollar. But there's another reason too, and it's simply this. Once it gets to a certain size, a certain automation, a certain build, companies tend to get a lot more mediocre. I mentioned fast food not necessarily because of the fact that the food it's also the nature of the product. When you get to these really big companies and you look at the products they offer compared to what's also around the market, right? They're not usually the best. They have a advantage, but they're not usually the best thing. I don't know of a single fast food restaurant where the food is the best thing you're ever going to get. I could be wrong, but let's be honest, that doesn't exist. You look at people like James Patterson, who has basically automated his writing style. Doesn't mean his books are the same quality. They have the same formula, but they don't have the same quality. when a company gets to such a size, there's going to be a certain tolerance for what we'll just call it. I'm just going to call it mediocrity. It's going to be tolerated because it's a problem they're familiar exists. And if you eliminate those problems, you create more unfamiliar territory. And again, a company likes knowing how big and what it's going to be. It's not about caring. It's not, like I said, this might, it's a degree of, how do I put this? Acceptable incompetence. That's basically how I put this. There's a degree of acceptable incompetence. You will see it in every big company you ever get. It's just, it's a machine. It mostly works. It kind of gets the job you want done or close enough-ish. It's a big company. We don't give a crap anymore. It's because, I mean, that might sound really cynical, but yeah.
But let me offer a rebuttal to your rebuttal.
Sure.
In that idea, and that is that McDonald's has pivoted when people started to, and it's not the food that they've pivoted with, it's the policies in which they've presented the food that they've pivoted in. Because when they were losing money because other fast food restaurants were offering all-day breakfast, they pivoted and decided they were going to do all-day breakfast. Now, they've now curtailed that because, people realize that, hey, look, whatever, McDonald's breakfast, however you feel about it, not everybody's going to go after it all day long. But they have pivoted. They went when nutrition became a thing, when Subway was starting to take them on and say, hey, we're nutritious. They pivoted and said, oh yeah, well, we've got fresh ingredients now, and so on and so forth, which, whatever, if they're lying or whatever, it doesn't matter. That's not what we're going to debate here, but they have pivoted. So nobody, that's the problem is there's nobody to take on Amazon right now to make them pivot. And that's another issue in and to itself. And if there was, Amazon would pivot. They have, in fact, pivoted a little bit, even though they won't tell you that and they won't admit it. Vela is a pivot. It's an answer to what has happened on Reddit, what has happened in other places, that they decided, look, this is something that we could take advantage of and make money at because we're better at it than they are. And we're going to show them that how that is. Of course, they haven't marketed it. They haven't talked about it as much as they should. And, that's another issue. And that's something we can have another conversation about. But they have pivoted when it serves their interest. And so it could be that this just doesn't serve their interest, and that's fine. That's the way it is. It's their business. It's who they are, and they make billions and billions of dollars. So who am I to say, with my not making a cent, that I have an idea? But it is something that they don't consider as and I think ultimately when somebody does challenge them, because somebody will challenge them, it's human nature, and who knows if that'll work, if they just warp them and destroy them, whatever. But once a challenge happens, and this because you're a wrestling fan, and WWE for a long time had the marketplace, and people were saying nobody was going to challenge them. There's no viable candidate out there, and look now. But the same thing with Amazon. Nobody's out there. Nobody's viable yet, but there might be. And when that happens, will security be the thing that takes them down? So they don't think in chess moves anymore, because like you said, to your point, and I agree with you, there's a mediocrity there. There's a laziness there that they have the luxury of having right now, that like WWE has a luxury that had a luxury for 10 years where they didn't have to tell you stories. Who gives a shit? We're the only place you can go to get good wrestling. So, go here or don't. We don't care. But, we're making billions of dollars. So what does it matter? But that's I'm just saying that's where the problem could be solved. Whether they decide to solve it, which they're not, because this has been a problem since I started publishing in 2010. I can tell you that this was an issue that was brought up.
Oh, sure.
Decades ago.
But which actually brings about my point perfectly on that part. But the only last thing I'm going to say about that, I don't think Amazon considers himself a book company. I think they consider themselves a shipping.
Yeah.
I think they consider themselves a shipping company.
Yeah.
And I think what they're really gearing for this year is there's an opportunity to really cut into FedEx, UPS, Purelators, the DHLs. They have a real opportunity to make a significant dent into that market this year, and I think they're going to make a move. That's where I think they're gunning for, and I think they have a legitimately good shot of pulling it off. And that's what I think their big focus this year. And everything else is kind of like meh. And
but the security issue is a universal issue. It's not just an author issue, right?
But again, like I said, I don't think they're going to care about that until they absolutely have to.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right on that. I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I think that's totally right. Yeah, and this is really a KDP issue because of the contracts in which they can hold you to a certain standard, and that's a lot of the authors who have been experienced this. Like Adam said, going wide is something to prevent that, but that is something that is happening to a lot of authors in that realm too. But so, I mean, is everybody here wide, or anybody in KDP that has concern? I know you said you are, Josh, but
yeah, I am. Just to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
My publication is through Falstaff Books, at least for the novels. So I don't make those decisions myself or just by myself. It's a group decision, and I know that my novels are available for Kindle Unlimited, but I also know that you can buy them in other places. So I guess that means that I'm wide, but they're not decisions I made.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm the same, but it's. At least you have a say in it. You can talk about it with
oh yeah,
John.
it's one of the great things about working with Falstaff Books is it kind of is somewhere between being a completely indie writer who has to handle everything themselves and working with a company. The stuff I lack expertise in, I can get support for. So you don't have crappy covers made by Samantha Bryant, who has no graphic design skills. Instead, you get good ones by actual graphic designers and that kind of stuff. But I wanted to, when Josh was talking, I kept thinking about the phrase "too big to fail," which was something we heard about banking in the past. And I think I admit that I am a very small scale kind of person. Like the bigger something gets, the less comfortable I am with it. Like the smallest place I ever lived had 400 people in total, and I was very happy. I liked it very much. So obviously, I'm not the big global kind of thinker. And I as a teacher, I know that a school is better the smaller it is too. That as soon as things get so big that the people participating in them are not people anymore to the decision making people, then it's too big. And I think that's the heart of why I don't like working with Amazon, is because Amazon's not people, and I like people.
No, you're exactly right on that. Yeah. And I mean, you all said like Amazon doesn't care about you as an author, which I mean, like, I agree to the point that was made that it's not that they are malicious. They're not out to get you, it's just that they're running a business, and these are the decisions that they've made to run their business, the policies that they follow. And a lot of people don't know that Amazon actually makes the most money off of renting out their web space from their servers. Like if you guys remember, it was just a few weeks ago or like a month ago, a bunch of different websites went down, like a ton of websites went down, like SendFox went down and BookFunnel went down and, several other websites. And it's all because they rent space off of Amazon servers. So they make most of their money on that. So they have several different revenue streams coming in that build their complete umbrella of businesses. And I mean, for them to like really give a huge shit about authors' indie published works, is kind of few and far between, unless there was someone heading that division that really gave a shit. You're not like, they're going to try and provide the best tools for you. So it's a great platform for you to use and you want to use, but they're not going to, go out of their way to change their policies to make sure one person's account gets unlocked or something like that. So, I mean, Amazon is a great tool. Facebook is a great tool. Goodreads is a great tool. All these things are great tools, but they're tools for you to build your business. They're not meant to be depended on.
I would disagree.
Is Goodreads really a good tool? Let's be honest. Is Goodreads really a good tool?
Yeah, some of them started as good tools, but the fact that when there's a problem, there's no clear recourse, there's no process to go through that gets you anywhere, tells me they are not good tools.
So I'm just reminded of what, like, when I worked at the shipping company I worked at. I had some management that was special. And I'm just like, hey, I got a problem. Can you fix it? And some of them I had were great. Then they know who they are. They were great. But there was one in particular that was so terrible that they were the assistant. The manager watched them, and he had this like mortified look, like, I'm stuck with you. Oh God, what do I do with you? And just, I actually felt sorry for my manager. Just in that minute, I just felt a little sorry, just because, just what he had to deal with. And I mean, that, again, this might sound really dumb, but this, like, just looking at taking a big company and looking at, like, when it gets to Samantha's point, so big that it's no longer looking at people in terms of quality anymore. It's about looking at it in terms of quantity. I totally agree with Anita. I absolutely 100% agree with Anita. I'm actually trying to get away from
Remember the other meaning of tool. It applies here.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with Anita there. The thing, but what I'm just saying is, you're dealing with, it's no longer about quality, it's about quantity. And when it's about quantity, what happens there is quality gets lost in the drain. And then we create this media, and every big company has this issue. Now, even competition, which will thin that to some degree, no matter who you are, no matter how good you are as a company, there's always that assistant manager that is causing havoc, that has been put into that little corner so they don't harm anything else. This is your corner. If you break it, we'll live with it. And I just think about that with Amazon the same way.
You want to know what is good quality and quantity? It's the Indie Connection, everybody, and we've got a good one this week. So thank you, Josh, for leading me into that. I appreciate it. And we'll be back right after the Indie Connection to continue this conversation for a little bit. And then stay tuned, everybody. You're in for a treat, I'm telling you, with the final 5 minutes this week. So get ready. But here's the Indie Connection in the meantime.
Hey guys, C.O. Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another Indie Connection. Today I'd like to tell you about some indie books that you might enjoy if you're a fan of The Starless Crown by James Rawlins. The first book I have for you is called The Kingless Crown by Sarah M. Craddock. A crown woven together by lies, a kingdom with the power to unravel them. 4 reaches, 4 brides. Only a fortnight separates the young women from becoming reluctant queens of the usurper king Aegon Regain. 20 years earlier, King Aegon's father cunningly devised marriages between the highborn sons and daughters of the oft-warring reaches, sealing the unions before they could protest, shattering existing betrothals in place of forced alliances. Now Aegon, the cruel boy king who stole his crown through murder, demands the eldest daughters of these unions. To accept is unfathomable. To refuse is treason. The lords and ladies of the kingdom have no choice but to prepare their beloved daughters for the horrors ahead. But they'll soon discover there are no longer any daughters left to present. All 4 have disappeared, painting the world with their rebellion. Theirs is not the only rebellion. Across the kingdom, little fires light within. From the enigmatic sorcerers in the northern mountains to the magi who both wield and regulate the kingdom's magic and beyond, to a place where 2 prisoners are not what they seem. As the Reaches ready themselves to face the king, the kingdom hovers on the edge of chaos. And there are many who recall, in candlelit secrecy, tales of a time before. The second book I have for you is called Where Shadows Lie by Allegra Pescatore. The chosen one is dead. Disabled since childhood, his little sister never expected the weight of a crown. Now she might lose it before sitting on the throne. Beset by rebels, scheming politicians, and cutthroat bankers, Eleanor must choose between accepting her father's despotic rule or risking everything for her late brother's lofty ideals. Meanwhile, from the rainy streets of Lorraine to the scorching dunes of the Mondaire Desert, the ripples of her actions have inadvertently broken a chain of events 5 centuries in the making. Ancient forces move in the shadows, calling in debts and striking deals. A monster with 1,000 faces fingers his knife, ready to kill, and a pair of fugitives run for their lives, unaware of the danger they carry with them. The third book I have for you is called Crimson Sun by Colby Dunn. A long-lasting treaty shatters. The horns of war echo from the east. A conflict ignites that will determine the outcome of all life in the hidden lands. Caleb Rembrandt and Tritus must rise to defend his homeland from the sudden invasion of Talgoth, the rising kingdom led by a merciless queen. Joined by a blacksmith's daughter, hex-casting wardens, and a mysterious shapeshifter from across the sea, Caleb sets off on a quest for retribution, but forces more hostile than foreign steel await them on the road. The struggle of power kindled by the sister blades begins a new cycle, and fate is watching. And the last book I have for you is called Wizard's Rise by Philip Tommaso. For over 200 years, the Rye Empire outlawed the use of magic. Now the empire has fallen, and a new, sinister power is rising. Ambitious and corrupt, the Mountain King will stop at nothing to reach his goals. Enslaving a sorceress to do his bidding, he begins his hunt for lost talismans that can help him bring the wizards back and harness their power. To save the old empire from this growing, sinister magic, 17-year-old farm boy Michael and his friends begin a desperate journey. They must collect the talismans before the Mountain King. On their way, Michael will have to face fears and accept truths he never knew existed. A war is coming, and their time is running out. And if they fail, a terrible darkness will steal the light from Grey Ashland Realm forever. Okay, that's all for me this week. I'll see you next week on The Indie Connection. Bye!
There we go. Weird. That was weird. I must have had some extra minutes in there that I didn't cut out. I apologize. Allegra book. Hooray. Yes. Hey. Yes. The gorgeous covers, as usual. Incredibly gorgeous covers. She finds the best covers. She finds the best books. Everybody go check out those books. The links will be in the description as well. The links for all these wonderful humans here. And let me get to a really decent screen here. All right. There we go. Yes. And so everybody go check out the Indie Connection and check out everybody here. They'll tell you where here in just a few moments. But, just to wrap up our conversation. Yeah, that was weird. I don't know. That's strange. Live again. First show of the year too. So, we'll work out those bugs. I promise. Anyway. We were having a nice conversation about this. Anybody have anything else they wanted to add about the idea of this? I'm curious. I'd be curious to know, Madilynn, from your perspective. You went wide with this release, and so was this part of the concern for you in terms of going wide?
It actually was, yes. Especially after the whole thing with my review stuff happened, it really pissed me off. I was like, okay, I'm working with you guys. Why are you going to do this? It's not like I'm going to give biased reviews. Authors want to see and know, if their book is a piece of crap or not. So, when I went wide, I was kind of like, okay, we're going to test the waters. And I actually went a little further, and I used Ingram Spark for Black Flames. I have not got my copies in yet because there's like delay with shipping and stuff. But I've actually I surprisingly sold more than I thought I would on that, going with that platform for the first time. And I still get majority of my sales through Amazon, but having other options like where it's on like Kobo and Barnes & Noble, it brings in more of an audience, and it kind of like lets me grow more, because there are people that don't want to buy from Amazon, don't want to get books from Amazon. And I'm like, okay, well, you're a Barnes & Noble person. Like, here, check out my stuff. It's there.
Nice. Anybody else have any experiences they want to talk about in terms of this?
Well,
Ron, you've been awfully... Oh, go ahead, Samantha.
I wanted to say that one of the struggles, I think, is always that writing is an art, and art is personal. And it's really hard to both put your heart into something and let it be real and sincere and authentic and a part of you. It's something you created, and to take a businessy attitude about that. It's this really hard balance to find, and a lot of creative people struggle with the business side of things, because you got into this because you wanted to make things. It's about the story, and you need to make some money at it. You know, if you're going to keep on going, if you want to have a career, you do have to manage the business side of it. But I think that's one of the things that makes this hard, is just, you know, those for a lot of people, those are not, you know, one side of either the business thing is kind of natural for you, or the creative thing is kind of natural for you, and you have to work at the other side, and it's a hard balance to strike.
Follow that, everybody. Perfectly said.
We don't have time. We don't have time. I just interviewed Madilynn about this not too long ago. I had actually a really interesting idea how to actually merge the two. And
you did. Yes.
Yeah.
And I've still been like toying that idea around in my head. So
yeah. So I would go so far as say it's actually not as hard as a lot of authors make it out to be. They are intimidated by the word sales, and instead it's the wrong S word they're focused on. But that is a full discussion. We're out of time. Otherwise, we're out of time. So,
well, everybody go check out that episode for sure of Just Joshing, because that's an awesome episode. So everybody needs to go check that out anyway. So then you can hear Josh's philosophy, and then put some comments on it. Let them know how you feel.
And there are no childs invading.
Actually, just to be honest, Joe, she came back for another one. The one we're talking about drops Tuesday.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it drops Tuesday. It drops Tuesday. So
awesome. All right, right on. Cool. Hey, there he is, everybody. The future indie author.
I surrender. He held my show hostage
timing.
for 40 minutes. It was awesome.
I was saying beforehand too, Ron. You've been awfully quiet. I know you're a corporate chill, so you're kind of just you're taking notes, right? Making sure that Amazon has all our names.
Oh, I'm sure they know all about us. No, I mean, obviously,
remember,
I
Ron,
disagree.
my pineapple. That's okay. Yeah.
I disagree with everybody.
Yeah.
I hate people. I mean, I don't know how you could ever have driven and not hate people. And I love business, and I love corporations, especially Amazon, Facebook, and Google. Huge fan. Would love to work together.
Walmart too?
Yeah, I love Walmart.
Okay, hey, awesome. I just get it all in there, right?
Every big company. Yeah, every successful company I love and would love.
I was kind of waiting for you to bring up the McDonald's coffee cup just now, and so that you could shill them too. So,
well, I will say, when Josh was talking about how no fast food company is the best restaurant or has the best food, that is by design. I mean, there are such things as market segments, and they're trying to be low priced, consistent food, not high end, delicious, amazing food. And I think they've obviously accomplished their goals. But that's not an attack on fast food. Fast food serves its function, but you don't. No business can be everything to everybody. You can't have the best stuff with the quickest delivery for the lowest price. I mean, it's not. There's a certain point where it's not possible. You pick normally two of those three things that you want to succeed at, and make your niche that. But
Well, while we're
pulp.
here,
That's all I want to say.
Yeah, all right. Well, while we're here, you have to reach some people here right now. I apologize for that, but tell everybody where they can catch you at, Mr. LAHR.
Well, as I was saying, I love people. I want them all to go to my website and buy my stuff.
which is right there.
You people are the best. Yes. Yeah, in case you're an idiot, the www.catholic.com is my website.
Oh God.
And you were about to go next, Josh, so clear it out.
I'm sorry. Just, Ron, never changed, man. Holy shit. My book's Alice 1. It's out now. It's available on Amazon. My website is jpantallersco.wordpress.com. If you want to find my show, Just Joshing, it's been airing 3 days a week as an audio. It starts going back to four audios a week starting this week. Stream regularly on Twitch, twitch.tv/justjoshingpodcast. I got a litany of guests coming up, built up from January and February. It's an exciting time. You're more than welcome to show up, participate, engage in the conversations live, or listen to them when they air on whatever application you want.
Awesome. All right. Samantha, you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Sure. Again, I write the Menopausal Superhero series, which is at this point 4 novels, 2 novellas, a collection of shorts, and a book that collects all the short things into one book. So it's getting there. It's so big.
Yay!
And you can find information about it in my blog and all that stuff at SamanthaBryant.com. I play mostly on Instagram and Twitter at Samantha B. Writer, just the letter B in the middle there. And I'm over on Facebook as Samantha Dunaway Bryant because there was already some other Samantha Bryant.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. You were fantastic. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. I was thrilled to come.
All right, Adam, you want to tell everybody where they can find you, sir?
You're muted, buddy.
You're muted.
There we go. Yep, of course, most platforms will be at Adam J. Author. And then, yeah, other than that, that's pretty straightforward.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm Joe Compton. This is Go Indie Now. Congratulations. You found us. If you haven't been here before, that's awesome. Welcome. We love to have you come back for some more. So come check us out. You're here. So all you got to do really is just click subscribe and you'll be here forever. And we would love to have you here forever. So come and join us. We do this every Sunday. We do tons of shows. We've got a lot of shows out already this week, and got more to come. Next Friday, we're at Joe's Bar, so we'll be live in Joe's Bar next Friday, which is going to be an awesome show. I would tell you about the guests, but I don't want to spoil the surprise just yet. So we've got some really great stuff happening though. Come and join us every chance you get, and smash that like button, comment, do all the things you do. That makes us be seen, and we really appreciate that. And yes, I am an author too, so I guess I should start the new year by mentioning that I am an author. I have 2 books out. Well, actually, I really only have 1 book out. I'm still baffled at how Madilynn got my first book, but she's got some magic. So as she'll tell you here in about 5 minutes. But that being said, I'm reworking my first book. So the first book is going to have a nice new cover, nice new everything. And first book is out, or second book is out right now. And it's a standalone. You could read it as a standalone. It's called We the Moral Majority. Monks of Killing is the first book, and that'll be out maybe this year. I don't know. Well, who knows? I don't go by the standard of like I'm going to get this out anymore because look, I got so much going on. So, but I'll be here regardless. And that being said, enough of my yapping. It is time to give the floor up to our friend, Miss Madilynn Dale is here to close the show. And it's all yours, Maddie. Take it away.
Hey, guys. So you can find everything about me at my website, connections to all my social media and books, whatnot. So, and my blog. So, yeah, check it out. Here is Black Flames. It is now available widely. Paperback. I did not do a hardback, but I'm going to read a little bit to you guys from it and ignore if you hear my child in the background. So here we go. Chapter 1. My breath huffs out as I push myself to keep up with the lean male ahead of me. My legs burn with fatigue and my body begs for me to stop. Sweat drips down my back in what feels like waves as I continue ahead, one foot in front of the other. Running is torture. Come on, keep it up, Ember. You can't slack off. You have to be strong. We need to see if we can't force the change. I huff, giving his back the stink eye.
Welcome to Beyond Reality. You're so...
Give me a break, Corey. I think I'm doing all right, keeping up with a male shifter who's already had his first transition into a wolf. You know that isn't good enough. The alpha's already putting pressure on your family because you're still unchanged. The next Luna needs to be prepared for anything. Your betrothed is concerned. My betrothed can kiss my ass. He knows I don't want to be with him. We just don't want to disappoint our parents. Hell, I'm 19. I can choose who I want to be with. I stop, doubling over, attempting to catch my breath. My stomach burns and my mouth is dry. Why didn't I bring a bottle of water with me? I have to stop. I hear Corey stop and the dirt shifts as he whips around. I take in deep breaths, doing my best to fight the cramps in my sides. You can't stop, Ember. We're almost finished. Just another mile or two. I stand as straight as possible and place my hands on my hips. I glare menacingly at him. No, I need a break. You can't push me like this. It's not fair. None of this is fair. I didn't choose this. Adam can find someone else. We don't even know if we're meant to be mates. He walks to me and puts his hand on my shoulder. I know it's not fair, and I hate to push you. Hell, I'm the one keeping secrets from him about you, but you have to try. You don't have a way out of this, even if he isn't your mate. Unless he chooses to break the contract your parents made with the Alpha at your birth, you're stuck. You know the rules. We can't go against the Alpha. I frown and reach up, placing my hand on his cheek. But where does that leave us? What if you're my mate? The attraction and the sex are there. That's all we need to seal the deal, right? No. Even if you're my mate, you know I can't claim you. That's not how this pack works. As the next beta to the future Alpha, I have to do what I'm ordered. Those orders will include not touching the Luna once it's official. That's stupid. I know he's been sleeping with Lacey. What if she's his mate? I think he'd know if she was. There isn't a bond between them like that, from what he's said. Fine. But until we find a way to get me out of this shit, I'm still going to enjoy who I want and whatever I want. That includes you. I step into him and place my lips against his. What better way to distract him from our training than to put his mind elsewhere? And I'm going to leave it at that, guys, because I have chaos exploding in the background now. But you can find this book. It's published wide. Harrison, okay, hold on. And it gets steamier, and there's a huge adventure and everything into it. I hope you guys have checked it out. So, and I know Joe is almost done with it. So remember to check out my book, and also remember it's always time to go indie now.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. And yes, I am almost done with it, and a review is coming soon. Look out.